Hi everyone, welcome to Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. Well, we should have an interesting one. I mean, any live stream where we can poke a bit of fun at Hodinkee is always a good live stream. But should we get started with a wristwatch check? Mark, do you wanna hit us first?
Yep. This is the Christopher Ward Super Compressor Black Sand. Been wearing it all week, having fun with the black sand.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Patrick, what are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing the watch I just made a review video on, and it's my tungsten Grand Seiko. And the problem when you collect weird watches that no one's ever heard of, no one watches your videos about weird watches that no one's ever heard of. So this beautiful little watch is the worst performing video I've released in, I think, 3 months, but no one knows to look for it. So if you're out there after the video, go check out a tungsten Grand Seiko. It's the only one they ever made.
Yeah, absolutely. Before that, was my audio weird? You sounded a little bit weird.
Patrick's was a little sizzly.
A little bit robotic, a little bit sizzly. We'll see how we get on. Todd, you're up next.
I went back to the OG Black Bay, the 41 millimeter, but the one with the in-house movement. It's the cost-certified in-house movement. Love this watch.
Excellent. And then I will go. I'm wearing a... Oh, God, I don't know. I'll take it off. I'm wearing my Sumo, my green Sumo that I just uploaded a review of. I also uploaded a review of the Namoki Mods DIY watch as well, so check that one out. I'm wearing it on a Crafter Blue, but it doesn't fit this strap. I had to persuade it with a Dremel. So if you're buying this GMT Seiko, it doesn't have it won't fit this Crafter Blue.
I was about to say, I actually really like the strap.
Yes, yeah, they are good. These Crafter Blue ones. This isn't a paid promotion. I bought this one, but they are really actually quite good. I had one ages ago on my Turtle. They're sort of a bit isofrane-y. They got that vanilla smell.
Those ones, I bought a Crafter Blue for a Seiko 5KX. It must have taken me an hour and a half to try to get that thing on there. And then I was so nervous about how tight it was. I was afraid it was going to pop itself off. So I went back to a different strap. They are nice, but man, the fit is, you have to get it just right.
Yeah, absolutely. You do. Yeah, they're rubber, but they've got a plastic insert on the end piece, which is why I had to hit it with a Dremel because, But, awesome. So we've got Kevin. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Peter, thanks for joining. Andy Batch. Hey, Andy, if you want to join, just hit me up in the WhatsApp. I forgot to invite you, but if you want to join, let us know. And then good evening, Brassic time. Okay, so this one we are going to go through. Hodinkee released an article called their favorite 40 watches. I think it might have been a bit better clickbait for the title if they'd said the best 40 watches, but they didn't. It said their favorite 40 watches. So what we thought we would do is we'll go through their picks. We'll do a little bit of commentary about whether we agree or not. And then what we're going to do as well is we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. We are going to keep score at the bottom here. And it's Hodinkee versus brands. And how this will work is we are going to score every time Hodinkee mentions a watch that they sell in their store. And then at the end, we'll work out what the ratio is between brands that they don't sell that they're recommended versus brands that they do sell in their store. So we'll keep a running total as we'll go through. Okay, so first up, and obviously let us know in the comment section as well what you think. So the first on their list is the Langdon Zun 1815. This is the first on their list of their favorite 40 watches that are currently available. So I don't know a lot about this watch. Does anybody else?
I mean, I know it's a Langdon Zun and it's probably gorgeous, but I'm not.
Oh, we completely lost Patrick there, I think.
Yeah.
On that bombshell. Let me just, Patrick, if you can hear this, you might have to just rejoin.
For me, that is just a gorgeous chronograph. Everything about it. It's obviously way outside of anything I'm ever going to be able to afford, but I am a huge fan of the brand. Everything they're doing.
Yeah, that's any better?
Oh, I think my router reboot right when I was talking, so I don't think that had anything to do with anything. But is my audio better?
Yes. No.
No.
I wonder if you might have to just log out and rejoin again.
Okay, I'll try.
I'll just remove you. Yeah, no worries. Okay, well, next up then, they have their second of the 40 favorite watches is the Apple Watch Ultra. So this is the new Apple Watch that came out that they've ruggedized a little bit better. I think this was their answer to the Garmin and the sort of the more extreme watches. This actually is the watch that I have seen the most in the wild on this list, because I know a couple of people at work, shout out to Ty and John at work, who have got this watch. It is a beast. It's big. Has anybody else seen this in person?
Yeah, it's definitely big on the wrist. I think a lady I saw was wearing it. I mean, it spanned her wrist. But I mean, it's an incredible. It really, I mean, you could try to hate on it, but it is an incredible watch for everything it's doing.
It is. They've called it the smartest smartwatch ever, and that is probably correct. It is a beast. It does. The screen is extremely flat on it, so I think that's what adds to the size as well. And it has the titanium bumper on the side here that also makes it look big. But they've essentially ruggedized it, which I presume they're going to take on the Garmin market. And if they do, they might actually finish off some of those other sort of more sports orientated, because they always played around it at being sport, didn't they? But they were easily scratched the previous ones, whereas this one is definitely ruggedized there. Okay,
there's a cheaper way to do that.
So
you can just get the ruggedized case for one.
That is true. Yeah. So we've got. Actually, we're not keeping score here. So we've got so far two brands that they don't sell. So far on the list. Let's see if we've got anybody else commenting on here. Apple Watch,
wrist iPad, but that was Patrick, so that's cheating.
Oh, well,
Well, no, Jack said it, and I laughed at his.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no worries. So next up, they've got the AP Royal Oak. This is the Jumbo Royal Oak. This is their number 3 on their list. This is an MSRP of 33,200. I mean, it is what it is, because you have to. I think this is one of those ones, with it being the 50th, that you have to be invited to buy it. But well, before I give my thoughts, and anybody else's thoughts of having this AP on the list, 39 mil?
It's certainly aspirational, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an attractive watch, but I think the impact, now that so many people have copied this or similar watches, the impact of an individual design like this is going down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can afford it and you can get on the list, great. It's a good looking watch, but there, later down the list, you can see that there are alternatives.
Yeah, there are. I mean, this waffle dial is the recent PRX that I reviewed, the Tissot PRX. The dial had that very similar look to it, that waffle design. I mean, arguably the AP would be better. I mean, one of the best watches I ever reviewed on, one of the watches that I was most impressed with that I ever got my hands on to review for the channel was an AP Royal Oak. It was the chronograph. It was a rose gold one. I was blown away by the fit and finish of it and the feel of it on the wrist. So I've no doubt that I would really like an AP Royal Oak, but I think that their prices of especially on the pre-owned market.
Yeah, well, the part that I have that's kind of a critique of them is just everyone's all about them, but everything I actually hear from people who own them is that it's just not really that good of a watch. They're very fragile. It's a sport watch, but you can't wear it like a sport watch. And supposedly the service costs are just astronomical. So it doesn't sound like a watch you would want to wear very often, which to me kind of just makes me not want it.
Yeah, I think I think it was an episode of when the Timepiece gentlemen were still kind of duo together that they talked about the offshore. I think one of their colleagues had one of the guys that worked there had the offshore, and he had to get that service because it was gaining a crazy amount of time. But I have heard that before, that the movements can be quite delicate. But
Yeah, and for the jumbo, I don't even think it's an AP movement. I think it's still a JLC movement because it's the extra thin one, and AP doesn't want to be bothered to make their own movement for it. Which, once again, I know Pete's not here to tell us that we shouldn't love in-house movements, but when you're charging 40 grand for a watch, I don't really want it to have an off-the-shelf movement from somebody else.
Well, at least it's not an NH35, although by the sound of it, that would be more reliable.
More reliable.
Yeah, this is anecdotal about the. This is we don't want to get sued by AP. This is anecdotal about the conjecture about the reliability of the movement.
I think I heard somebody talking about this watch too, and said it was very uncomfortable to wind too. The crown was uncomfortable.
Oh, really? Well, the
I can't remember who was talking about.
I've not heard that. I mean, there have been people that have worn this. Like Karl Lagerfeld, the designer, he had a Royal Oak, didn't he, for years.
And I can't tell if I like it because it's expensive or not. Like, is it? Do we love it because it costs so much and we know what that means, or do we love it because we like to look at it? I can't decide.
Well, I'm sure you're right. The little hype fairies singing in our ears saying, you like it, you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is another one that they don't sell, isn't it? I mean, we won't go into the pre-owned. They definitely do. Crown and Buckle sell the
Crown and Caliber.
This is it's Adrian Barker, was it, that talks about the winding? Okay, cool. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, Nick says none of you own a Royal Oak. I do not. I have had my hands on one though. Okay, so next up, which is maybe a little bit of a cop out, is another Royal Oak, and this is the 34mm, so probably more of a unisex size. This is the black ceramic. I've never seen one of these black ceramic APs in the flesh. They do put, there is some more affordable ones on this list as well. I think they've put the expensive ones towards the top, perhaps. But I don't know. Does anyone have an opinion on this one? I mean,
it's better
looking.
I think
this one just released a couple years ago, and it was sort of the girl size, gold accents on the black ceramic, and I actually think it looks really nice. Like, I think the color combo is prettier than the sort of boring jumbo. So, if they made this in a bigger size, this would be far more interesting to me, particularly since it's now made out of ceramic and is scratch proof. So I actually like this watch.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'd like it if it was a proper size.
It is a proper size. That's what a gentleman wears.
Well, I'm a peasant. Make it 42 and I'll be happy.
Yeah. We'll go on to the next one. Yeah, Patrick, sorry about this. Your audio's still crackling a little bit. I'm not sure.
I think my iPad, for whatever reason, said that it's uploading something. So I'm probably getting like traffic going both ways on the internet, but I have no idea. I'm not a computer guy. I have no idea why I'm uploading anything.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. And this is, let me just see. Oh no, this is another one. So this is another one that they don't sell, but this is the Breitling Aerospace Super Quartz. I've had the Breitling B1 with it wasn't quite the Super Quartz, it was pre-Super Quartz, but I love these. I would very happily own one of these. I've never been crazy about the bezel, to be honest. That's the only thing that's ever given me pause. But I think this is an awesome watch. I've handled a couple of these. I love everything about Breitling Quartz. I don't know. That's my opinion on it. And it's got a super loud alarm as well.
I like it. It would be so much better if the 12, 3, 6, and 9 were the same size as the rest of the numerals. You don't need to take away from the dial or the LCD displays with those 4 huge numbers. They're just a distraction. But, if you can live with that, I think it's a great watch.
Yeah, I've been looking at one of the like an older version of one of these. One of these days, I think I will end up with one. I keep going back and forth on it, but it's a
Well,
cool watch for what it is.
it's this or an X33 from Omega, really, isn't it?
Or the Seiko Arnie.
Yeah.
No, it's this or the Omega.
Yeah, the Skywalker.
Yeah, the first or the second generation. Is it the Z33 that's completely horrible? But the X33s are very nice.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I had the original X33, the very, very original one. Very original. That's a
Very original.
Yeah, very original. So I really liked it. I would buy that. They went crazy after that Dragon. You used to be able to get them decent price online, but after the astronaut and the Dragon launch, the first Dragon launch that they did, went up with one of the original ones. They went crazy on the secondhand market. But I like the new one.
This, I think, is the only watch, at least my local Omega boutique, will not set up for you. They just go, we don't have a clue how these work, so here's the book and good luck.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's go. So Von Krull saying audio is messed up here for Patrick in particular. Does that mean that everybody's struggling to hear? Let us know if you're struggling to hear anybody else as well.
Right. I turned off my other mic thing, so maybe this will just go.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah,
that's way better.
Yeah, that's
okay,
way better. There you go. That's way better. But Von Krull, let us know if there's any other audio issues. Okay. So yes, so we're big fans of this. Patrick, did you have any comments on this one?
I mean, it's pretty regular. I mean, I said I don't know if I would put it in the best 40. I could probably come up with 40 that didn't include this, but I like it. I mean, it's a great aviator watch. I'll take it over a Flieger any day.
Yes, 100% with Patrick on that.
Yeah. Okay. No. Next one up is the Bulgari Octo Finissimo Perpetual Calendar, and hey, one for Hodinkee here. So this is one that they're selling on their website. So we have the Octo Finissimo. This is the 40mm version. This is the date Perpetual Calendar, titanium, and yours for a snip of 70,100. Now, Mark, this is one that you mentioned.
I've looked at a lot of the Bulgari range. This is probably the worst of them. It's the one. It's the one that's hardest to read. It's the least elegant because there's too much stuff crammed onto the dial. But for me, the Octo Finissimo, the square case, just doesn't fit my wrist at all. It's painful to wear, and I found this with a lot of square case watches, Bell & Ross, Christopher Ward, and so on. I just can't wear them. And also the integrated bracelet is, for me, a wrist shaver. So it's a watch, the very simple 3-hand I would love to own, but I'm not going to wear something that hurts. I mean, I do admire these watches. I wish I could make it work for my wrist, but I can't. But yeah, the one they've chosen here really is the worst of the bunch. There's so many better ones in this range. Why did they pick this? Oh yeah, because it's the most expensive.
I'll mark it. It pains me a little bit because I love the Octo Finissimo, and actually it does wear decently on me. I was kind of surprised because I've tried a few of them on, but the regular 3-hander, I just find it a little too dull and boring. And so I need an extra dial or something just to shake it up. The chrono, obviously,
the chrono is fine.
I don't really like chronos, but this, I agree, it's a little busy, but I actually still kind of like it. So I'll defend it.
I'm with Mark on this. I think for me, I've tried on the 3-hander, and I thought, what a beautiful watch. This is a little too muddy when I look at it. I don't know. It looks like a G-Shock. And when but again, kind of going what you were saying, the 3-hander is maybe a little boring, but when I put it on, I was like, I'd be afraid to wear this watch. It was so thin. This would be a dress watch only situation. I think, it's so for me, I mean, I agree with Mark 100%.
none of these are the most legible watches in the world. Dark grey against grey isn't going to win legibility prizes, and when you cover it with junk like this is, it makes it even worse. So for me, it just doesn't work. But people like them, people don't.
Yeah. There's one that's like a mirror dial, isn't there, with polished hands?
Well, they've done a lot of limited editions with Japanese architects, and not one of them has been a fail. They've been stunning.
Awesome. Next up is I think this might be the only dedicated ladies' watch that is on their list, but this is the Bulgari Serpenti. The only person I know that has this is somebody we interviewed a while ago, but I don't know what's. Apparently, it's really comfortable to wear.
My wife tried one on last year when we went to the Turks and Caicos, and she got sticker shock and was never going to buy it, or was never going to persuade me to buy it either. She said it was comfortable, but the strap definitely takes time to wear in to be perfectly comfortable. So when you get them new, they're not always as comfortable as they become over time.
Interesting.
I guess it depends on the shape of your wrist to an extent as well.
Sure.
But, not that I'm in the market for one, but I kind of like these. They're different enough. The idea of the Cleopatra strap, I think, is very clever. I mean, for what it is, I think this is a very good execution of what it is.
Yeah. It was Kristen at La Patiala that had this. She was going to show it, wasn't she, on the thing, but it was in a safe. So it's weird how it. So does it completely unravel flat, Mark, or is it coiled like that?
It comes coiled, and you sort of just unwrap it enough to get it around your wrist, and then over time, if you wore it on a daily basis, it would conform closer and closer to the wrist.
It's a beautiful art.
It's a beautiful thing.
It does what it's jewelry that's also functional and it translates really well. I mean, it's cool. I would never be in the market for, even for my wife. She would love it, I'm sure, but that's
I was very lucky to get out of that particular shop in the Turks and Caicos without spending 10 grand that day. So my wife is wonderful. Never let it be said otherwise.
Absolutely. Next up is Cartier Crash.
That's two for Bulgari, because they sell both of these.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's another one for Bulgari there. Next one up is the Cartier Crash. I know this is one of Andy Batch's. I think we talked about this on our small watch collab that we did. It was one of the original Crashes. I think this obviously is the re-release. This is. Oh, actually. So this is. Oh, is this actually one that's out now?
I think so.
Oh, it's exclusive. It's
exclusive to month. It's exclusive to the Cartier London boutique by the look of it.
Oh, so this is a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? Because if there's only one a month, I mean, you could be on a 7-year waiting list. You could be on a very long waiting list if you wanted this one.
Someone can take my spot. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you should we really comment on this or just move on?
Let's move on.
It's awful. Next,
it is terrible. I'm so sick of that being like the darling. Like, everybody loves that watch. And I'm like, I hate that watch.
Yeah, it's like a Salvador Dali painting, isn't it? I suppose that's
on acid.
Yeah.
Salvador Dali and acid everything just might look normal. Anyway, so Cartier.
I want the acid you're taking, Sam, at that point.
This is the Cartier Panthera. So it's another ladies' watch. I did a big disservice, didn't I? Saying the Bulgari was the only ladies' watch, but we've had sort of 2 in a row there, possibly unisex. So I don't know much about these watches, to be honest. Anybody have any thoughts? This is 21,600. This is a quartz watch, yellow gold.
I mean, and I'm not a fan, both of the Cartiers they've shown looks like they should be $10 quartz watches that you buy as a joke. They're horrible. They really are awful.
Oh,
No. There's nothing good about these at all. Patrick, please.
Andy's going to be crying in the back room there, but I have to completely agree with you, Mark. I mean, Cartier. I mean, 2 years ago, no one cared. They were completely off the planet. And then all of a sudden, a couple influencers said Cartier, 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 and now we can't stop talking about them. But you're right. I mean, they're beautiful for what they are, but I don't think they're anything special. And I think I only like 2 models, and one's the Caliber de Cartier, just because it looks like a sports watch, and the Roadster because it's just funky. And every tank wannabe, melted tank wannabe, not for me.
Not working.
Okay, let's move on then. Next up is the Chapard Alpine Eagle. Somebody was talking about this watch. Was it a couple of weeks ago? I can't remember who it was now. But I'm not familiar with this watch.
It might have been Dave. I think he's a big fan of this brand.
Yeah.
It's another not quite original design, and they've taken the extra step of ruining it with Roman numerals.
I also
and no date.
And no date.
I like the dial treatment on it either. I only saw it on the picture, but it reminded me of one of those Phoebus watches or something like that. I was like, I don't love.
Yeah. Also, it looks like the case is shaped as if you could have the crown on either side. You know what I mean? It's like you get the choice.
Nice. And this is another point for Hodinkee.
Yes, this is another point for Hodinkee.
So yeah, similar to what Mark said, they have an old one from the 70s, just like everyone else who copied Gerald Genta designs, and then they brought it back and they've made this Alpine Eagle. And I mean, it's actually a really comfortable watch. I tried one on in New York, and the dial is prettier and better than both the Nautilus and the Royal Oak, but I just can't look at it and not just say copycat. And I know that's not officially what it is, but it kind of sort of is.
Before we move on to the next one, let's just quickly do the scores. By my reckoning, Hodinkee 3, Brands 8. So far we've had 3 watches that Hodinkee sell, and then eight watches that are that they don't sell, that are sold by the brands direct. Okay, so next up here, the Doxa. This is the sub 300. This is the iconic Doxa. They look awesome. This is I just recently watched the 3 Days of the Condor with Robert Redford, and he wears a Doxa in that. I don't think it's this exact one, but he wears it on a bun strap in that one. But I don't know, Patrick, you actually own Doxa, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a Doxa, and I said I'm pretty surprised it made their top 40, but I love it. And bang for buck sports watch diver, it's a great watch, and I think that Beads of Rice bracelet with a orange dial, I mean, that's a killer classic look, and I love it.
Awesome.
Does it wear small? Because the dial is very small in the case.
It's pretty wide. I mean, kind of like I would say it's a bit like a Captain Willard in terms of it sort of flares a little bit in the long direction. So it's decently sized. I mean, the dial doesn't look overly small to me when it's on. So I don't know. I haven't really paid too much attention, but it reads well.
Okay.
I always like that one, but at the price point, I'm always looking at the Seiko Turtle instead.
It feels, not having seen them recently, expensive for what it is. But I guess if I do like the orange, and I like the shape of the second hand, but it does feel a bit expensive. This is what happens when you use Christopher Ward as a benchmark.
Right.
It's easy for things that are of equal or slightly better quality to feel expensive, and the Doxa feels expensive to me. It's nice, but I think for $2,500, particularly if you're looking at second hand, there are a lot of alternatives in the space.
The one that always gets my attention is the sub 200. Now that one's a nice value, and it has a lot of the look. So you can get into that, I think, for $900. So then you're like, okay, I like that.
Yeah. I was
thinking about getting one for my wife.
Yeah.
The 200.
Yeah, the 200 is neat. I like it.
Yeah, I like them. They've started to sell them in Mayors as well. So you can actually go in and see if you're in Florida. Mayors is the watch to Switzerland, I think, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so next one up here is another unobtainium, and this is the FP Jaune. This is a snip at 136,700 in. They say it's in rose gold, but that looks like it's white gold. But anyway, I have never seen an FP Jaune. I mean, Roman over at Grey Market, over at Luxury Bazaar, I mean, raves about FP Jaune, doesn't he? Because FP Jaune, he's still alive, is he? Is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know much about these. Patrick, do you know?
Oh, yes. So actually, speaking of the funniness of it is there's obviously a lot of hype behind FP Jaune. You know, it's a beautiful watch, but it's not very artisanal. And so for the price point that you're paying, usually you would expect to get some hand finishing and all this. All of their machinery is machine finished with maybe just a touch of like perlage or something on there. And Teddy Bulbasaur made a post talking about how it was the most beautifully hand finished movement he's ever seen. And then he got roasted in the comments by everyone who was just like, they're not hand finished. And, you know, the idea is they're beautiful. They're very interesting, but they're really probably not that great of a watch. But I will say this particular model, which is the but the resonance. So this is the neatest one because they have two balance wheels and they go into resonance, and there's kind of a really neat mechanism behind it. So if I was to get any one, even though I can't afford this one, this would be the one.
Awesome. Okay, and then next up, somebody's left a comment here, says, I don't buy quartz watches over €20. They are just not worth it. Well, I'm afraid you've turned up to the wrong YouTube channel. Anyway, but thank you for joining. I'm just joking. Okay, so next one up is here we go. It's slightly more than $20, but it is the mighty DW 5600. To be honest, I think they should have. I mean, if they're doing like the favorite watches, I mean, it is a great watch. Don't get me wrong, but this is just the standard one. They could have gone with one of the metal ones, couldn't they? I think they look really cool. I mean, this is just a crowd pleaser all round, isn't it? I don't think anybody dislikes them, unless Patrick, do you like them?
No, I need to get a G-Shock. I've never owned one, and I just haven't figured out which is the one for me. I just want something special because I kind of like limited editions, but I'm not buying a $1,000 metal one. So when they make a special, regular G-Shock, I'm going to get it.
Yeah, I really like this one. I definitely want one of the metal ones. I mean, you can get them for about $400 now, their own ones. Yeah, I might try. I need one of these in my life. Okay, next up then is, how are we doing for time, everyone? Oh, Patrick, right in your wheelhouse here. This is actually, that was one for that another one that Hodinkee don't sell, if we're keeping score. But this one is that they do sell. Yay! So, but Patrick, do you want to kick us off on this one?
Well, as crazy as it is, I mean, I'm a Grand Seiko super fan, but this is probably one of my least favorite Grand Seikos. And the somewhat Seasons collection where they made this dial that kind of looks like clouds, it is the cheapest looking dial you've ever seen when you see it in the flesh.
Really? Because they're known for the dials.
Yeah, this dial to me looks like cheap plastic. And so, I've loved the winter, which is, the version of this one that this is the spring. But when you look at it and you pick it up and you kind of look at the reflections, I just went, ooh. And, obviously I don't really want a pink dial either. So, this one kind of gets the double whammy of the 4 watches in this collection. I just don't like that dial. And pink is probably not a color I would wear every day. So, Grand Seiko, I love you. This is not my favorite.
So it looks like an explosion in a cotton candy factory instead of a
Yes.
precision dial.
And I
Okay.
need to find a place for that power reserve indicator. I'm never a fan of where it's placed. It looks off to me. Put it on the back.
Yeah.
And I like the description that the spring drive is nearly proprietary. Come on, Hodinkee. ChatGPT writes better than that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look. Next one up is another crowd pleaser. They've gone for the Hamilton. I say khaki, but everyone corrects me saying it's khaki, but khaki sounds far too posh for a northerner to say.
And it's also Hodinkee special, this one.
Oh, is that they've picked their own one?
They sell it in the shop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they do have a special version of this, don't they? Didn't they have their own?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think it's an all rounder, isn't it? So we'll go on to the next one here. This is the IWC.
Go, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Flieger. No thanks.
Yeah, it's, if you're going to make a Flieger, make them 50 millimeters and wear them over a flying jacket.
And make them $200. And, and a Flieger to me just is the simplest watch in the world that, a pilot would wear. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be by a big brand. I would get a Laco or some other version of a Flieger for, a couple $100, but before spending, it looks like 5,000.
5,250.
So yeah, no thanks.
Nope.
Yeah, I my dad's got an IWC and I like it, and I've always liked IWC, but they're in that price bracket, aren't they? Where it's just a little bit more of a decision to make about them. I would probably get a Grand Seiko if I was.
I've tried to like IWC, but apart from the 41 millimeter chronograph they did with the Formula One team, I just don't. There's too many unimaginative Fliegers.
Mm. Yep.
Okay. Sorry, Todd.
Just agreeing with the other gentleman. Yes. Awful. Let's move on.
Not allowed. Only defend. MB&F. Next one up. I don't know if does anybody have an idea like how are these unobtainium as well, or are they? Can you get hold of them? Doesn't even have a price on, which is worrying.
I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we think it's deserving on the list here? I mean, I suppose it is.
Yes. I don't really care for them, but I love a unique design, and MB&F, it's that standing tall, bridge holding the balance, that is MB&F in a nutshell. I definitely think it's one of the coolest watches that's been made in decades. So 100% on the 40.
But awesome. It's ruined by Roman numerals. Why go to 21st century design lengths and then spoil it?
Mark with Roman numerals and Sam with the date window.
Just put indices in.
Well, Mark, we should have added this to this. We still got, when we do a part 2 to our uncomfortable opinion, our uncomfortable opinions about watches, or we'll add that, because I don't think we had Roman numerals on there for you. But anyway, next up is the Namos Tangente 38 millimeters. Oh, this is another win for the Hodinkee shop.
Yep.
I've liked every Namos that I've ever seen in person, but there's just something that just gives me pause. Like, I don't know whether I would like to own that style of watch, even though I appreciate the Bauhaus, the sort of minimalist design. But
well, it's not really Bauhaus. It's a homage, as in paying respect to Bauhaus. And like a lot of Glashütte watches, there's got to be a lug length minimum size somewhere in the Glashütte standard. But, Nomos are, and I may be exaggerating, make a 38 millimeter watch, but the lug tip to lug tip is 50. Why do you do this?
Yeah.
Nordische Instrument, Müller Glashütte do the same. There's a lot of unnecessary lug length in these watches.
I absolutely, I have a Nomos. I love it, and it's one of those ones that really has won me over from the standpoint of that everything is all in-house for sure. If you're into in-house,
they're beautiful watches.
beautifully beautifully made watch. So I enjoy it for what it is. But with you, Sam, it's a little bit. Sometimes it's boring to look at, but I do love the watch, and I can't get around it.
Yeah, for me, it's just they don't have enough.
Meister series do just as well.
Yeah, for me, they just don't have the spunk. I mean, I said that they're great watches, and for the price, they're actually wonderfully priced for what you get with an in-house movement and unique design. I need a little more pizzazz, and Nomos, at least now, doesn't have it, which I guess kind of is their thing. So they probably never have it.
Some of the square dial watches, or the watches with the different dial colors, are quite lively and much more modern times. The simple white and black, like we're showing on the screen, is very conservative. They do have some livelier designs.
Yeah. What's nice about them too is you can play with them as strap monsters. These can be boring. You can have very colorful, fun straps with them too.
Yeah, I can see that.
Next up, I think this is a crowd pleaser. This is another win for the Hodinkee shop here, and this is the Seamaster 300. So this is the standard one, isn't it? It's not the
Yep, it's just the standard blue. Yep.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Move on. No one's done it.
I really had a bee in my bonnet about the hands for some reason, but I've really warmed them, especially that green dial. I think that's fantastic.
I have the Christopher Ward version. You know how people were so cranky for so long about the logo, and it made no sense. I have the same illogical feeling about that helium escape valve. I just wish it wasn't there. And no, it doesn't make. Who cares? But it bothers me. I can't not see it.
If you own one and wear it on a regular basis, I don't even notice the helium escape valve. It, certainly if you're seeing it in pictures, it stands out, and a lot of fuss has been made. Wearing them as a daily watch, you don't notice it. I mean, the current generation definitely made it more of a feature, but really in real life on the wrist, you wouldn't. In fact, you don't see it.
Interesting.
So,
except I'm a lefty, so it would be sticking out on that.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a watch for you then.
Does it Mark? I've never thought to ask this, but is it a valve or does it unscrew?
There's a valve inside it, so you have to unscrew it if you're going to actually use it. It's not an automatic helium escape valve, I don't think.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, so
that's
the
thing I don't like about it either, is they could make it automatic and not be a screw-in version, just kind of like the old Rolex did. But I guess they have a button, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I like the wart from the old models better than the Reese's peanut butter cup of the new models.
Well, the current generation, they deliberately went out, I think, and made them flashier and more noticeable than the previous generation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a 1 mil increase in size. Everything was done to make them obvious what you were wearing. It's a much more obvious, flashy watch than the previous generation in any of the colorways.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up is another Omega, so it must be another win for the Hodinkee shop. So they've chosen the Speedmaster, but then they've chosen their Hesselite version as well, which I didn't know that was still available. But I mean, I had a Speedmaster for ages. I really liked it.
It's another watch. It's another watch that's hard to wind. Any Speedmaster is hard to wind, unless you know the trick of turning it over and winding it from the back.
Yeah, mine always used to return back on itself slightly. Even after I got it serviced, I would wind it and the crown would ever so slightly return back on itself. So,
it's a classic. I might have chosen the Sapphire Sandwich. I think with all the text they put on the back of the Hesselite, it reads like a PhD thesis, and I don't want that on the back of a watch. It's a particularly bad PhD thesis on medieval history. No, it doesn't belong on the back of a watch.
Yeah. I think I would have chosen Sapphire Sandwich, and I might get. I don't know. Who knows? In my life, I might get another one at some point. But and next one up is the Oris Big Crown, and this is another win for the Hodinkee shop. Okay, so they're coming in. They're coming in towards the end here. Every Oris that I've ever seen, I've liked it. I've been impressed by them, but I have never owned one. And again, I don't know why that is. Anybody have any? I'm opinionless on this one. I guess I like the look of it.
They kind of
I mean, my only opinion is I know Oris makes a great watch, but they don't have anything that makes me say, "Ooh, that's the one." And so I just they're too everybody else. They're too kind of bland in their own way, and I that's really all I have to say. They're very forgettable, and doesn't mean they're not nice. It just means they don't speak to me.
Patrick is the man. If I could high five you right now, I would. Yes.
I prefer the Aquis to anything else that Oris make. But once you've bought one, you don't need to buy any more. And that's a shame. I'd love to buy another Oris, but once I've got my Aquis, I just don't feel the need.
Yeah. Next up then is the Parmigiani
Fleurier.
I know next to nothing about Parmigiani.
I can't even understand this one.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And if Dave was on, he'd be over the moon, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is he Gerard Perregaux these days?
He's Gerard Perregaux, isn't he? He was even with Ricky on the last episode.
I like the simplicity of this. They avoided making it a direct Genta clone because it's not quite octagonal. And if you wanted an elegant sports watch, I think this ticks a lot of boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love
Except
this
price.
watch. I'll never buy it, but I love it because kind of what you just said, Mark, it takes all of the sports watch themes, kind of makes their own little part of it. And it's just a really nice, well-made watch. It's a little boring for me, but it's beautiful. And I love the fact that they did the right thing with their new branding, because they used to just write Parmigiani Fleurier in like huge letters across the top. And they now have this nice little subtle PF there. And, they did a really nice job where they just cleaned up their dial and made it look nice. So I'm a fan of their redo.
And if it was a simple three-hander, they kept all the design elements, the second hand in gold, the hour and minute hand in silver. If it was a simple three-hander, it would be an absolute standout. Doesn't need to be a Rattrapante.
Yeah, so this is a split GMT. So does that mean that the gold hand, it's actually it doesn't do one revolution 24 hours, it does one revolution 12. So actually there's sort of 2-hour hands on it, pointing at 12-hour time.
Yeah, and they're the same size, which would be disorienting for a while too.
I don't understand how it works. Okay. Next up then is the Patek Philippe, another unobtainium one. And this is Hodinkee definitely don't sell that one, so I'll give it another in-house. This is $187,400. Okay, should we move on? I don't know whether there's another. I'm partial to the Aquanaut, I have to say, but this is another one for the in-house. I actually like these Aquanauts.
I mean, if I was a member of Red Bar and somebody showed me this, I might say, "Oh, isn't that a Hamilton?" Oh no, the case shape is wrong. It could be a Hamilton. It's just dull. There's nothing exciting about this. I don't get it.
I like it. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to move on unless anybody else wants to talk about the Aquanaut. Well, we've got a more exciting one that Patrick might like.
I'll just quickly say I like it, but I like the ones that have a little something on it. So whether it has the chronograph or it has the GMT function, just something else to fill up that dial. And I really like the Aquanaut. The plain one, it's a little plain.
Yeah. Okay, Patrick, while you're talking, you want to do this next one? This is another win for Hodinkee. Sure.
I love Resonance. I'm telling that for Jack, because Jack said if I love a watch, I gave them the kiss of death. But I love Resonance. I think they make gorgeous watches. They even make some of their watches in a waterproof design, so you can get a really cool watch and you can actually wear it. I love it. Only thing I don't love is they are very expensive. So the ones I like are probably 30, 40 grand, and I don't love them that much. They're gorgeous watches. I love the design. I love the tech. I 100% deserves the 40th, and it would be near the top of my 40.
Awesome. Okay, so sorry, anybody else any thoughts on this one before we jump to the next one?
I love that watch. I'm fascinated by it, but Patrick in every way. It's unobtainium for me. So
yeah. I mean, cool. It's amazing, isn't it, that they look like they're quartz or they look like they're smart watches, but they're actually mechanical and oil filled, aren't they? Some of them. Okay, next up, another unobtainium. This is the Richard Mille, and another one for.
I mean, that RM looks better than most of them. So I mean, actually, that one's not completely ugly, and with the red tipped hands I can almost even tell the time. So congratulations, RM. That's the best RM I've seen in a long time.
And they're not exactly unobtainium. You just have to steal them from a Formula One driver.
Yes.
They're little tiny guys, so it shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving swiftly on, we've got the Datejust 36. This is another win for non-Hodinkee shop. I mean, I love my. This is actually the date, isn't it? Sorry, not the Datejust.
All day, every day, perfect watch. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. This is a weird one, isn't it? They put the Rainbow Daytona on there because this is so out there, isn't it?
Yeah. Just on so many levels, it's just gosh.
I mean, I like the ingenuity behind it and the fact that all of these sapphires are individually graded. I mean, it's a great story, isn't it? But yeah,
I mean, wasn't this Jenny L's Grail watch?
Oh, I
think it was. It just looks like a toy. I can't.
If everyone could turn off the hype fairy and just look at this from across the room, 99% of people would truly say the truth, which is it's ugly. But for some odd reason, we live in a world where everyone says it's great, and I just don't understand it.
It's an expression of wealth over taste.
Yeah. You know who this watch works for perfectly? It's that Michael, the producer, or producer Michael, whatever. This is a watch for him. That's all. That's it.
Okay, moving swift. Oh, another Rolex. We've got a Rolex sub, no date. So
no date.
I know, awful.
Makes it great.
I mean, it's a classic. I mean, I don't know if there's much more to say about it. It's worthy to be on the list. It's a classic. Next one up, then, a bit more obtainable, is the Seiko Alpinist. I've never owned this watch, but Hodinkee are responsible for making the blue version, aren't they? Like, absolutely go insane. So,
and this
my son has this watch, and
this is another point for the Hodinkee store as well. Sorry, Ted.
Yes.
My son has this watch, and I mean, whenever he wears it, it's like, oh, that is a gorgeous watch. It is better looking than it deserves to be for the price. When the original came out, it was like $400. You're like, that looks like a Rolex. It's just got a beautiful look.
Yeah.
And it has that crime of a Cyclops on it.
Anyway, McCullough at Manchester Leather.
With the dates there.
I was quiet about the Rolexes. You're not slipping a Cyclops past me again.
Well, here's the next up is the SRPB 317. This is another. Oh, actually, they haven't put this one. So they sell the Alpinist, but for this one they've put the Seiko shop. So I don't know whether that goes to Hodinkee or whether it goes to Seiko. But anyway, I bet this will be good. I'm not crazy about the 6R35s or the 4R35s or the 3R movements, but I'm sure this will look amazing.
Yeah, I love the look of that. It has all
I love
right.
the shape.
Yeah, it's so comfortable and it has all the right vintage cues without being bad.
This is a much better looking Submariner than the Rolexes. This, if you want a vintage style dive watch, get one of these.
Yeah, and they've got them for $900, but you'll be able to get them for much cheaper, I'm sure, or a little bit. Well, I'm going to put this one for Hodinkee because they probably would sell it if they could. Like the intention there. Okay, so next up, the Moon Swatch.
Would you like me to defend the Moon Swatch? Because somebody has to.
No,
I mean, it's $200 swatch. It's quartz. It's got Omega on the dial.
Yep.
I don't get why people hate them. I think a lot of people thought they could just buy one and have been against it when they found they couldn't.
Yeah.
With the 11 or 12 colorways, there's one for everyone. Not necessarily my cup of tea, any of them, but they don't deserve the hate. They really don't. The hate they've got is triggered by people's imaginations. It doesn't hurt Omega as a brand. It helps Swatch. It helps Omega. It helps the Swatch group.
Yeah,
Why hate?
The only thing I don't like about it, I wanted one before, when they first announced them, that they're disposable. I hate that it's unserviceable, throwaway watch. When it breaks, you throw it away for 200, whatever it is. That seems like a lot to throw away.
Yeah, this is my favorite configuration. I know a couple of people are commenting about them breaking, but I mean, Adrian Bark and Jack broke his, didn't he? So
yeah. I mean, I've got 2 of them, and I wear them to the hospital all the time where I do bad, mean things. And I haven't had any, knock on wood, problems with them. So I'm kind of with Mark in terms of, is it a high horology watch? Is it something that you're going to show off to your friends? Absolutely not. Is it a cheap watch that is relatively disposable? Absolutely. And I don't think that's so bad. I used to buy my dad, when he was alive, a running watch every couple of years, an Ironman Timex, and he'd wear it for about 3 years until it looked trashy, and then I'd get him a new one for Christmas. And that is okay. And if this watch lasts me 5 years, 10 years, I'll be perfectly thrilled with it. I don't expect it to last a lifetime. And I kind of agree with Mark. I think it's actually a pretty nice watch. I don't know if I'd put it on the top 40 though.
Yeah. Next up then, another win for the Hodinkee shop is the Tag Heuer. This is their Aqua Racer, which is a model they've had for a long time, which is, you can tell because it still looks like it was designed in the 90s. But I like some tags. I like the one that they did the Ortavia reissue where they took tag off the dial and put Heuer on there. But I'm pretty indifferent about these, to be quite honest.
I actually like this. It's not the most original design, but it's well executed, and just like the Moon Swatch, Tag got a lot of people into watches.
That's true. They were the big one when I was a kid,
and they still are. And this is a perfectly respectable. In fact, it's kind of a nice looking dive watch.
Then they
doesn't deserve the hate.
No, I agree with you 100%. They make wonderful bracelets too. Like the case and the finishing is very nice. Actually, on these, despite what someone said earlier, I'd probably choose the quartz model over the mechanical, just because of the mechanicals they put in them.
Yeah, I like the. I've definitely flirted with buying the Formula One. Is it the quartz one? I do quite like the look of that one. So,
wonderful watch for the price of quartz.
And I think they make did they make a solar quartz now?
Yeah, it just came out this year, and I think it's also in titanium. So it's like pretty cool watch. I am a Tag fan, and it's probably because I grew up like when I was younger, that was like there was Rolex and Tag. Like you guys were saying, like it was a watch that was like a milestone watch.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next up then is the Timex Q. Is this another one for Hodinkee shop? Oh no, this is another one for independent. These were really hyped at the time, weren't they? I never loved them enough to buy one, but I know a lot of YouTubers bought them, didn't they, to review and then kind of sold them on afterwards. But there's so many different versions of this. Timex are doing some great stuff, aren't they? But I don't know, has anybody ever owned this one?
Not that one. I think they look really nice. I mean, I actually kind of prefer the look of it over even the PRX. I just think obviously the PRX has a better build quality, and if they made a PRX quality one that had the two-tone bezel and I like their bracelet better. I think it's a really good looking watch. It's just I guess not the greatest.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the hour hand either.
No, but someone at Timex, someone got a promotion because their design, they're knocking them out like every week now. Crazy good looking watches.
They are some really good looking stuff coming from Timex. Yeah. Okay. Next up is there you go, the PRX. I reviewed one of these recently. Like, very impressed. I would probably get a quartz one, to be quite honest.
Me too.
I've even flirted with they got like a gold one, 39mm gold, all gold one, which looks pretty cool. I don't know if I pull off a gold watch.
But that quartz in that mint. Nice. Yeah.
I mean, aside from being a point for Hodinkee, this would be so much nicer if there was no text below the central pinion. It doesn't need PRX. It doesn't need Powermatic 80. Just give us the waffles. That's all we need.
Yeah, I actually totally agree with you, because I compared this one against the Casio Edifice. That they both look kind of 70s, but the Casio they put the ridiculous Edifice on there, and I was like, no, it should just have Casio, and Tissot should just have Tissot on there. They don't need all the.
In fact, if they moved the date to 6 and got rid of the PRX and Powermatic 80, it would be perfect.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you're thinking.
Okay, next up is the Black Bay 58, but this is the blue version. I own the original one, but I'm not this blue version. But Patrick, you're a fan, aren't you?
I'm just a fan because it's just such a comfortable watch. I mean, it's perfect sized for a 6.5-inch wrist. And, you know, I've got one with a bracelet, one without a bracelet, but both of mine are on rubber straps, just because on a rubber strap, you forget it's even there. And I can do anything I want. And I don't have to worry about, knocking it around, because it's tough and, great size, super fan. Yes.
Yeah, this was the watch actually that made me realize that I can't have a watch without the date. No, it's straight. Honestly, this was it, and I was like, I can't. If they put the date on this watch, if Watches and Wonders tomorrow, I know somebody was asking whether we had any predictions. If they put the date on this watch, I honestly would have a very difficult choice to make about whether I saved up for this as my next watch, because I liked almost everything about it except that it didn't have the date on it. I would be all over it, honestly, because they've done the Black Bay, the bigger Black Bay heritage. They've done that with the date, so
they have.
Yeah. There was the original silver and gold S&G one that they had. That had the date on it. Anyway, okay, so we're fans of that one, and that is that's another one for the for an independent, and then we've got Pelagos here, 39mm. I was impressed with this watch. That's another one for independent. Anybody thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I haven't tried it on, but similarly, I think it would be a great size. I mean, it pretty much is the sportier version of the Black Bay 58. And I think it'll be a great watch. I haven't had hands-on with it to prove it.
Yeah, I've had hands-on with it. It is really good. It is really nice. It's a nice size.
I would love to love Tudor, but whilst they have that ugly hour hand, no.
I love that. I'm all about that.
No. Every time I saw it, I would be upset.
I absolutely love the hour hand. I just love that hour hand. I mean, I think it's a love-hate thing. I love it.
I love it. I'm all over it. I love that hour hand. I think it's awesome.
Extremely legible in the dark. Like you can tell the time, no problem.
Which is one of the things you can't do with a Seamaster with those skeleton hands. You take your glasses off, you're trying to read the time in the dark, you're done. You can't.
So that was another one for Hodinkee, not for Hodinkee shop. Okay, so this one's another one. This one is a win for the Hodinkee shop. So we'll put the scores up in a bit. This is Unimatic. This is another brand that I would love to love. They do ones with a date, so that's okay. But they used to put very bog standard movements in them. But I think they've. Oh yeah, this is the NH35A. So there you go. So for $600 for an NH35A is just a little too rich for my blood. But I've never seen one in person. So has anybody else?
They have a fanatic fan base.
Yeah.
I actually like this. I like the simplicity of the design. They haven't done the freaky 2 dots on the outer bezel. So would I buy one? Probably not. But I actually like this one. If I had 595 spare, you'd have to give it some thought. It's an unusual design. It's kind of striking. They've managed to balance the case quite well. So yeah, I like this.
I like the look of the watch. I can't stand that it's on a NATO. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, other things I don't like, NATO are quite high on the list too.
Yeah, it's funny that I think it's Unimatic and Invicta that are the two that had a commercially available SpongeBob watch. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Okay, yeah, that's true. So Matt, we'll just kind of go through these. So the Vacheron Constantine Historique, is this one? Oh, they don't actually. That's not on there.
I love the lugs on that. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice VC, but I mean, this is the first VC we've seen on the list, right? Because
it is. Yeah,
this wouldn't be the one that I would choose if I was to put one on the list. So I'm not mad at them for the choice. It's a beautiful watch, but I would have chosen a different VC.
The Patrimony Rose Gold No Date, if you're going to choose a VC.
Okay, awesome. 43,000. Yeah. Okay, and then I think this is the last one on the list. So we went slightly over, but is this one for the Hodinkee shop?
Hodinkee shop.
Okay,
I like it.
Yeah, I like him.
I know. I wish the subdials always drive me crazy that they overlap like that. But I
like that. I think the overlapping subdials and the colors makes me like this Zenith over at Daytona 100 times.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm trying to top these up now, and I'm probably off here. I think it's like, well, let's. This is what I think it is, but I don't think it adds up to 40. So we might have missed some. So yeah, I don't think this adds up to 40. But anyway, we'll go with it. So I think I had Hodinkee 16, other brands 26. So I think I've got the Hodinkee right. So how this...
that adds up to 42. So Douglas Adams would be proud. Douglas Adams would be proud of you.
Yes, exactly. It is the meaning of life. We've inadvertently concluded this with the meaning of life. Okay, so well, there or thereabouts. So Hodinkee didn't do too bad, did they? They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't.
That's pretty impartial for a Hodinkee.
Not terribly pandering, so not bad.
Yeah. I was expecting 35 Hodinkee, 5 brands. So
a little bit in there of their own.
Yeah.
But they did put. I mean, if you looked at it, really, they put in, for ones that they didn't sell, they put in a lot of unobtainium ones, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ones that were like, oh well, we don't sell it, but also it is 100 and something thousand.
Yeah.
So,
but awesome. You can get this Unimatic.
Exactly. Well, Unimatic we do sell.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, no, thank you everyone for being so active in the comments. Very much appreciated. And thank you to the panel again. And we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk Live. Thank you all for watching. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Good night, everybody.